Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Trust and Believe. I'm your host, Shaun T, and today I am going to give you the 10 things that I've learned to enhance your training, your results, your sustainability, and your ability to literally push through your fitness. This is one that you will not want to miss. I also will love to be very honest with you and say I'm extremely tired. I'm extremely depleted. So if the episode is not as long as you normally would like, I apologize, but it's going to be fruitful. And I think you're going to get a lot of things that are going to help you out. So get ready to trust and believe.
Somebody say hell yeah!
What's up?
He's better than Oprah.
Come on, y'all. This is Shaun T, and it's time to trust and believe.
I just want to let y'all know that this shirt is one of my favorites that I'm wearing. If you're listening to this, failure in the gym is success. One day I was working out with my coach and I was just like so excited to dig deep, and I was so excited to push to the point that I couldn't do it anymore, like another rep. But the thing that was really interesting about it is I asked him, I said, can you train other people as hard as you train me? And he said, not often is he able to train and push someone that he's able to push me, because I revel, I think that's the right word, in the ability to struggle through the fitness. And then we just started having this incredible conversation about people are so afraid of failure and so afraid of not being able to push forward. And I think in last week's episode, when Scott asked me about, just being consistent, I'm like, the only way you can fail is not trying, right? Like, that's the only way to fail, because you're just like not doing anything. But if you push hard, you're not failing. But failure in the gym, meaning I got to a point where I can't do any more, equals success. So that's just something to think about, especially as I go through these next 10 things, or these 10 things that I've learned along the process of just this journey. So number one is really connecting to the word gradual. I know that when it comes to fitness, everyone wants the quick results. I don't know if I want to say everyone, but pretty much people want the quick result. Things that are tangible are just incredible. You want to eat. That's why fast food is extremely popular. When you go to a restaurant, I don't know if you've watched those restaurant shows, but there's a timer. Like you sit down, the server comes to you, your drinks are on the table within a couple minutes. They give you enough time to order your food. Your food needs to be out in a certain amount of time. Everything is about quick. We have apps on our phone that we can order food from. We get music right away. Before we had the tape cassette, and then we had to wait for the song to come on the radio, and we would push record. Where you push like play and record at the same time. I'm dating myself, but I don't know if some of you out there may not even know what a cassette tape is. And then it was DVDs, and like you could skip really fast instead of fast forwarding. And, then we got iPods and phones, and now we got Spotify, and we got Apple, and we got all these amazing things that we get things really quick, from food to music. We have Amazon and ASOS, and I think Shein is like another one of my favorite clothes apps. We just are able to order anything we want at the drop of a dime, and it's really quick and it's so easy. And we have lost the ability to connect to gradual. Now, I am the first one to tell you that I believe it's really great that we have these apps and accessibility for most things. But when it comes to your body and your health, this process, and I think I started at 17 or 18 weeks, I can't remember. I immediately thought to myself, okay, my coach just told me I have 18 weeks, 17 or 18. I'm going to use 18 because I think it was 18. And I know for a fact that I'm going to look a certain way 18 weeks from now. And, when you're a part of this journey, you can't look like you look on show day at week 15. There has to be a gradual process because these are the things that's happening. You're lessening your calories. You have to keep up your energy. You're also trying to gain muscle. You're slowly trying to burn the body fat while not depleting yourself too much. And a lot of times when people diet, they do the crash dieting. It's like, tomorrow I'm going to start and I'm going to eat lettuce. I know that's being a little bit dramatic, but people say, I'm going to eat lettuce. And people just do this diet, and it works for some people. I'm not saying it didn't work for you or maybe somebody else, but I'm here to say that the reason why I still and will always have a job in fitness is because there is that yo-yo effect, and there is that thing that makes people want something really quick, especially when it comes to health and fitness and food. And then they get to a point where they're like, oh my gosh, this is too much. And they just did it too fast. Now, listen, the process that I'm a part of, I was 11.9% body fat when I started my prep. 2 weeks ago, I was 3.8% body fat. Now, I don't want to stay there because it's just not healthy, but to stay there for too long. But I will tell you, there is an ebb and flow, and I will go up in body fat. Probably like I'll get to 7% and be like fine, 7-8%, even 10%. And in my off season, I'm going to have to go a little higher. But the point that I'm trying to make is I know that there's a process for me to get from 11% to 3%, because if I would have got the 3% by, let's say, week 10, the last 8 weeks would have been absolutely miserable, right? Because I can't stay there for too long. And then the really cool thing is taking progress photos, because each week I thought to myself, like, wow, you look amazing. You look amazing. You look amazing. I was super positive. Wow, you look amazing. And then I compare my week 10 photos to today. I'm like, holy shit. Like, just number one, complimenting myself along the way. You should do that. That's part of the gradual process. And then getting to a place where you see your changes, it keeps you in a positive headspace the entire time. There is the weight loss. My coach is less about weight and more about aesthetics, which I really like. But there are points where I knew, being 223 pounds, which is what he wanted me to be when I got back from Australia, I knew that I was going to have to be lesser weight and lesser body fat. And I'm actually just thinking right now, like, wow, in the last, I think I have a week to go. So let's say last 16 and a half, 17 weeks or whatever, I've lost 19, 20 pounds. That's crazy. And the thing that's freeing is I didn't even think about the number in which I needed to lose. I was so focused on each and every week gradually getting better. I started out at 3,900 calories, which I couldn't even finish that food. I remember being at night and I would look at Scott and like, oh my gosh, I have to finish this food. And I would text Kristen, my trainer, and I'd be like, do I need to eat this food? And she's like, did your coach tell you need to eat the food? And I'm like, fuck. To a point where I was like, I cannot wait. I was like, I can't wait. I literally cannot wait to be in the place that I am now, saying like, I can't wait till I'm at 2,100 calories. And now I'm like, fuck. I want more calories. But the really cool thing is doing that gradual process, you do find the sweet spot for yourself. And I think that's the biggest lesson when it comes to this first thing that I've learned, which is taking it gradually. You do find this like crazy sweet spot that you're just like, holy crap. Like, I look back at week 10 when I was in France. I looked good. I was working out every day. I was still a head turner in the gym, bitch. And so if I split the difference between 3% and 11%, let's say 12%, because I think it was 11.8 or 9. But if I split that difference, maybe 8% body fat. And I was like really happy with it. And so I think having that gradual, whether it's fitness, nutrition, or whatever, you find the balance. I've always said that you say I have 150 pounds to lose, and sometimes it's really not 150. It could be a really, really cool 112 pounds. And that's where you're healthy. That's where you're living. That's where your social life is great. That's where your blood work is great, which we'll talk about in a minute. I just want to just really emphasize having gradual change. And there are things out there that help you lose weight. I mean, I'll be the first one to tell you. Obviously, I've heard about Ozempic, and I know a lot of people use that. And here's the thing, I am 100% for you feeling healthy if you talk to your doctor and, whatever. But I also like to say that, even with myself being on this process, obviously last year I started testosterone. It was like, even though I have this testosterone as a 45-year-old man, trying to, still build muscle in a better way than I did when I was 30, I still had to find the gradual way of learning how to eat, learning how to fitness, and just, it's just a healthier way to do it. And some people get tummy tucks, and I'm like, get your motherfucking tummy tuck, bitch. Like, that's just me being fun. But I'm like, get your tummy tuck. Do whatever you need to do, but learn how to sustain that type of health as you go along. One of my friends and a woman I mentored before she was getting her gastric bypass, I was so happy to know that she had to go to therapy and just to, just like really put your head in a mindset and learn how to eat. And it just helps you better, regardless of what you decide to do with your body. So I just want to say, like, it doesn't have to be bodybuilding. It doesn't have to be, whatever weight loss program, even if you are taking like supplements or hormone regimen or whatever you're taking. It's just like, I'm all for it. Your tummy tuck, the mommy makeover. People like frown upon that. I'm like, no, like, do you? But if you learn about that gradual process and that gradual change, it just makes it so much better. And you can find a balance. Like, you can still have your glass of wine or two. You can still go out with your friend. You can still know how many days a week you want to work out to keep your mind and body healthy and all that stuff. So gradual is the way to go. So the second thing is prepping your life. I never used to be one to prep my food ever. I was like, no. And I used to be one of those people that was like, I need something different every day. And I know some of you out there like that, and I'm not shading you for it, but I used to be that person like, no, like, I don't know. I just want to eat this. I want to eat this. And at one point, Scott and I had a house manager who used to cook for us, especially when we were vegetarian and our boys were just born, and she would make all these different dishes, and we would just have like all kinds of different things every night. And it was really great. But what I've learned along this process is we are lucky, super, super lucky to have incredible nannies who also manage our house and our food and our life and our closets. I mean, I will say it is, obviously extremely helpful. And I might be in a different situation than a lot of people, but I also, prior to this prep, was prepping my own food prior to it getting deep in prep. And if they weren't able to do it, I would be able to do it. And I just want to tell you guys that I know a lot of times you're like, I don't want to eat the same thing every night for dinner. Eat the same thing just for a week. It's totally fine. Like, you make your ground chicken, you make your rice, and you can season that rice. Mine is bland right now, but you can season that rice. My asparagus, you use that air fryer. Scott cooks, a few pieces of salmon. You put it in, you just like separate it. Everything is portioned out. You get a food scale if you want to measure your food, and you set your timer. If you're watching this, I'll pull up my timer on my phone. I literally have 1 hour, 34 minutes, and 38 seconds left before I need to eat my next and final meal. And just doing that, I mean, down to prepping my clock for when I'm going to eat, just doing that, number one, it keeps me in the right time that I need to eat. It makes me feel healthy. It makes me feel unbloated and unfull. And right now I'm not allowed to snack. But I will tell you that when this is done, Scott is doing it with me. He's so wonderful. He's not trying to obviously get as ripped or as lean as me because I'm competing, but he's definitely leaning out and working out and just being very supportive. But, if we go to the movies, he will have a snack maybe or not. And so you can still do the things that you normally do, but prepping your food and knowing that you have those healthy meals and you just stick to that for a week, even if you just prep dinner, even if it's just dinner, it is, I'm just going to tell you guys, it's a lifesaver. And I say cook the food yourself, or obviously someone in your house, maybe your husband or wife, or maybe you have a roommate and you guys want to do it, but like prep the food for dinner. It is like, just try it. And then on Saturdays, or maybe you go out on a date night, like there's been times that we go out on a date night and we would go to a sushi place and I'm like, okay, at the time where I had steak, I would ask if I could have the steak and I would get my rice on the side and I would get my vegetable wherever restaurant we go to. So there's still a way to stay in the zone and still have like the social life. But then on the weekends, you go and you have fun. And the last thing I'll say is prior to my prep, Sundays would be, they call it cheat meals. I call it treat meals. And my coach would force me to have 2 burgers. He'd be like, have 2 burgers. And I'm like, what? You want me to have 2 burgers? And I'm like, okay. And fries. And I could barely finish it. For me, every single meal I eat, from my breakfast, it's even with my oatmeal in the morning. I have my oatmeal in a clear jar. I know how much I need to portion out. I keep my measuring cup in there. I get a half a cup of oatmeal. It used to be a cup. And then even in my refrigerator, I have my mixed berries or my blueberries. And I get 1 cup of blueberries with every meal that I have with my oatmeal. And my measuring cup is in there. And I don't have to guess. I don't eat too much. I don't eat too little. So if you want to prep, I just say prepping your food for me has been amazing. And I think it'll benefit you too. And I also feel like prepping your workouts, which a lot of you do because you are in my workouts. That's why I tell people to join Dig Deeper Nation, because we have challenges throughout the year. And in my new workout program, you will also, like, everything will be, obviously prepped out and follow a calendar. So prep your life from food to fitness. If you have a personal trainer, it's great. All right, next thing, number 3, is sleep. I don't need to spend too much time here, but I do want to tell you guys straight up. For some reason, I just know that a lot of times I've messaged with people and they be like, oh my gosh, I'm a night person and I like to stay up late and I like to, whatever. And I'm like, I'm not trying to not make you be like that, because I think there's some science behind people who like to wake up early and people who like to stay up late or whatever. But I will tell you that regardless of how late you stay up or how early you get up, my body feels better every single time I'm in bed before 9 o'clock, because I get up around 5:30 every day, sometimes 4:45 depending on it. But if I'm in bed before 9 o'clock, or I could say I even push it to 9:30, I can't even tell you. Like, I wake up, my body feels better. I feel my blood flowing better. My brain is clearer. So, and it's tough because, especially if you have kids, or if you, not even just if you have kids, but especially if you're like out late or, doing whatever, you like to watch movies, or you like to like settle down, you like to have that glass of wine, whatever it is that you do. And I had to gradually push it back. It's like, okay, kids are in bed by 7:30. So me and Scott are like, all right, we need to have all the housework done so that at 7:40, we can go in, we can watch our show, spend our time together, and we start making our way to bed by the 9 o'clock hour. Sometimes I'm in before, so that you get ample amount of sleep. You will wake up feeling lighter, and at night, your body fluctuates like anywhere from 5 to sometimes 7 or 8 pounds during the day, from the water you drink to the food. And you go to bed, sometimes you feel a little sluggish if you eat too late. That's why I think you should eat a little earlier, and not necessarily do intermittent fasting, but like sleep good so that your body digests all the food and it can like utilize all the water, because your body's made up mostly water. But just sleeping like that is an automatic enhancement and turbo charge to better health and enhancing your results 1,000%. So try that. Number 4, very simple, vitamins. While I took a men's vitamin every day anyway, now during this process, I have to take certain vitamins with every meal. And what it's caused me to do is have my vitamin container and my pills. And I would just like every day, it's part of that prep process. The best thing to do with your vitamins for me is put it right in front of your sink, right before you either go brush your teeth in the morning. If you weigh yourself on the scale, which I know I tell people not to do, but if for some reason you do it, put your vitamins right there on the floor. Put them somewhere where they're visual, right in the way. And hopefully you sleep with water next to your bed, because it's really good for you to wake up and drink water first thing. And you just take that water, you take your pill if it's in your thing, and boom. Like, these things you can do at the drop of a dime. But the vitamins, because, depending on what your nutrition is or however you feel, like whatever health issues you have going on, or maybe you don't, the vitamins just like really enhance that. So vitamins are really good. That's 4. Number 5, I've said this before in the podcast, but blood work. See your doctor, get a full blood panel, get a deep blood panel. I would say what's most important is, well, obviously getting your complete blood count. And, for men, you want to check all of, your male parts and the stuff that like prostate and your PSA. Women, obviously, you go to the gynecologist, get your hormones checked for your blood. But the reason why I say get your blood work done is when it comes to fitness. Obviously, you should get your blood work done when it comes to everything, but especially when it comes to fitness, is because it really tells you how your body and why your body is possibly reacting to some things, right? Like some other things. You could be tired. Your libido could be down. You could be getting acne. You could be processing certain food that you've eaten for a long time and now it hurts your stomach. Like, it's those things. You could not be losing weight. You could be doing all the lifting and the perfect amount of cardio and the food prep and everything I talked about, and your body's not changing. And so getting your blood work done is great. I also recommend not getting your blood work done yearly. I get my blood work done every 30 to 45 days. Through this process that I'm doing, it's very necessary, because I'm, obviously depleting my calories. I'm working out really hard, but I go every 30 days. I go to the doctor and I get my blood work done, and we see it and we check it, and we just, it's just a great way to check like your liver function, your kidney function, all of the way your body is functioning. You could prevent as much as possible things in the future, because you already knew like, oh, maybe I need to take this vitamin. Maybe I need to drink this. Maybe I need medicine, if you're a person who likes to take medicine. So there are things that you find out when you get your blood work done that's more than just like, oh, I just got my yearly physical, that you can get ahead of, and it enhances your fitness results and just your life results and your mood. Oh my gosh. When it comes to hormones, get your hormone levels checked. If you've been in a bad mood, if you feel sluggish, if you feel like you're lashing out, I'm telling you, it is a complete game changer, in addition to mental health, obviously. I guess this is number 7, because I talked about failure in the gym is success. 7, but 1 repeated. It was kind of in my intro to talking about this. When you're working out every day, whether you're lifting or running on a treadmill or riding a bike or playing tennis or whatever your workout is, and I'll be really quick with this one, you're not going to be stronger physically every day. Now, I know I say like stronger every day, because obviously it's just more about like pushing yourself every single day, staying strong, staying in the zone. But you're not necessarily going to be able to lift, just because you lift 55 pounds in a bench press or chest press this week doesn't mean you're going to be able to do 60 next week. You even might be in a situation where you do 45, and it could be all relative to what you have going on mentally in your relationship. It could be the way you feel because you haven't slept. It could be extra workload at work. It could be because of the way you've eaten. You could have went out and had drinks or whatever. So I just want to make sure that you all really understand, the value of just doing your best and like what that means, and knowing that going to the gym or doing your workout every day doesn't mean you always need to surpass the last thing. Now you're like, Shaun, well, in the fit test and insanity, you wanted us to increase. Yeah, but that's a test. That's saying, all right, you have every 2 weeks, you get stronger in this test. But I'm just saying generally, every single day, don't feel like if you're not as strong lifting or you can't do as many push-ups as you've done the day before or the week before, that you're necessarily weaker, because you have all these other things that are going on in your life that can drain your energy. So just be really happy with what you can do that day, especially if you push yourself to the best of your ability. Okay, so that was actually number 7. So we're going to go to number 8, form. I've said this all the time, but form over speed. Be functional in your body. One of the great things about the new program that I have coming out, which is all lifting, we move a little bit slower. We do lots of time under tension, and you get stronger. And the other thing is, when you move slower, whether you're doing body weight activity or whether you're doing lifting, when you move a little bit slower, you gain more control. Your muscle, whatever it is that you're working, you just are able to just feel better, and it gets stronger. And that's enhanced by the nutrition that you have. Now, if you're running, if you're a runner or a sprinter or a power, this and that, it might be a little bit different. But the form of it all is just so very important. Even if you're a marathon runner, going to get, a running coach, if you're serious about marathon training, or if you go swimming, like getting someone to help you with form, it conserves energy and it enhances the result. It enhances, if you're lifting weights, it enhances the muscle. And if you're doing some sort of cardio, it enhances your conditioning. So form is really, really important. That's something I've learned over time. Oh, and the reason why I came up with that is because as I've gotten from week 18 to week now, I can't lift nearly the volume that I was lifting before. I was just like, and I'm pushing. I'm like, oh my gosh. Like, I was lifting like maybe a month and a half ago, I was hitting like 70, 75 pounds shoulder press. And today I was like dying with 60s, 50s maybe. But for me, what I'm trying to do is just enhance and fine tune and be aesthetically sound. So it's a different kind of process. But for you, having good form, it just improves everything. Next thing, we have 2 more. Food. We talked about prepping your food, but I'm just going to remind you that, I'm going to be very cliche and say you are what you eat. That is what it is. Now, you aren't everything that you eat, because I'm definitely a believer in like, having the fun foods and going to birthday parties and not being like, I'm not going to have the cake, or I'm not going to like, no, you can do that. But I just resort back to my 85% healthy, 15% fun. I'm not going to bore you with food. You all know that. And the very last thing that I had to learn throughout this process, we get very competitive with ourselves. And in this situation, I'm just a very competitive person in general. And, I started to get wrapped up in wanting to do my best, I knew I looked good. Like, it wasn't about I look good. It was just like wanting to just be so great that I was like, when I first started this, it was like 85% fun and 15% like, oh, I'm going to like, win. I don't know if I'm going to win, but I'm going to do great. And then it just became more 50-50. And I realized that 50% is not good for me. And now I'm at 80%. Like, yeah, man, like I work really, really hard. I can't wait to go get on this stage and show what I've done and just have a really, really great time. Like, I just want to have a lot of fun. When those stage lights hit me, I'm just going to be like, oh my gosh, like I'm probably going to just be cheesing ear to ear. They're going to be like, is this like a kid's first like dance recital? Because I'm just going to be like, oh my gosh, like I made it here. My competitive side, I'm like, I want to come home with some hardware. I want to come home with a medal or 3 or 7. It's a sport for me specifically, and then I'll come back to you. But for me specifically, it's a sport where when I ran track, I had to cross the finish line first. 90% of the competition is the work you do before the competition, and then you get on stage and pose and show your best, and you show what you can do, and you show your body. And it's not about crossing the finish line first, and it's really about connecting to you. And like I said, I'm just gonna have a good ass time. Well, thank you guys very much for listening. I hope that you have learned a lot, and I hope this helped you trust and believe in yourself a little bit more, but also just giving you some things to help enhance your journey so that you can feel better about who you are, because you are who you are, and no one can change that. And I'll say it again, and always trust and believe in who you are.